All right, so let's start with James.
Thanks. Hi, thank you for coming. I'm James Bennett. I'm one of the readers in the Noir Carnival anthology, obviously. Today I'm going to be reading an excerpt from my story, The Teeth Behind the Beard. McCaw trudged up the steps to the stage and entered the signs... McCaw trudged up the steps to the stage and entered the cardboard forest. There were scuff marks in the dust here, signs of a struggle, fanning out where Waldo took a stage dive. O'Malley looked up from the shadows below, his neat blonde hair and fresh face serving as a marker for the distance. Must have been some up-close shooting, the force of the bullets hurling the ringmaster several feet across the ballroom. McCaw guessed a Colt, a peacemaker maybe, his suspicions confirmed when he bent and inspected the shells at his feet. Straightening, he put the caps in his pocket, patted the Walther strapped to his chest and walked into the wings. Like a baby with a dummy, only you need a heater for comfort. He found the dressing rooms down some more steps and along a short corridor, bare bulbs lighting the way. The freak saved the razzle-dazzle for the audience. There was nothing fancy down here but the cobwebs. One door was open, a glittery star hanging lopsided on the chipped wood, and taking a gamble, he rapped softly on it. A softer voice answered, rising from the bottom of the sea. Pushing it open, McCaw found the dame. She sat turned away from him, a smooth curve of skin and a backless red frock, her bare shoulders reflecting the bulbs that lined the dressing table mirror. Its call to vanity went unanswered. She wasn't looking at herself. The dame's head lay on her arms, and her tawny locks, a spill of finger waves, shook in time with her sobs. McCaw coughed. Miss Honeybush? Detective McCaw, CPD. Go away, a wet-sounding, muffled rejection. You're about an hour too late. The bottle at her elbow told him that the wet sound wasn't just down to tears. In light of events, he was prepared to let the liquor slide. Next to the bottle, wilted flowers bristled in a vase, and next to that, a pink valise, the clips locked. Uncomfortable, he looked around the room. There wasn't much to look at. More of a storeroom, really. The wallpaper, some brocade Victorian affectation, was peeling bad, interrupted here and there by ratty posters. A few chintzy dresses hung on a rail, feather boas dangling from it like jungle vines. The feeble attempts at glamour gave way to stacked boxes and a floor lamp in the far corner, the bulb flickering, the tasselled shade covered in dust. Clara Bow, eat your heart out. Far more interesting was the frail. It had been a while and McCaw couldn't suppress a twitch in his pants at her shapely frame, her waist of wonder rising from the stool. When her shoulders shook, he shook a little too, and he coughed again, pressing his business. Look, I didn't come down here to bump gums, lady. There's a stiff out there in case you didn't notice. He said all this and realised at the same time he was rusty with broads. This is a police matter. Anything you want to tell me? He left the idea hanging. Further sobs answered him. Unless, that is, you'd like a trip to the station. This got a response. She didn't look up, but the sobs faltered, her spine tensing a little. What good would it do? The dame sounded as bitter as lemons. Her voice was deep, but not unpleasant, a rural Illinois drawl, kneaded towards a cultured twang by some stage school or other, maybe just by pretension. Waldo is dead and Caleb took off. You going to give me my paycheck? According to Byrne, you're a witness to murder. Our only witness. McCaw flipped out his notepad from his inside pocket, afraid that comes with certain dues. I don't want to talk about it. She was sobbing again, grief shaking like sand through her hourglass figure. A memory of Ruth wagged a finger in his mind, and reluctantly shamed, he pocketed the notepad. He shuffled forward, stretched out a hand and patted her lightly on the shoulder. Bad break, Miss Honeybush. Guess Waldo was a friend, huh? Talking about it might help. A friend? Now she did look up, glaring at him in the mirror. Tell me, detective, have you ever been in love? McCaw took a couple of steps back. The question nipped at his heart, but her face in the glass caused his retreat. Lines of mascara ran from her eyes, throwing smudges down her high cheeks. Her lips trembled, buds of pain. That rose was lost in a briar, and McCaw recalled the officer's laughter as they'd left the ballroom. He sent them a silent curse. Thanks a bunch, fellas. Miss Honeybush, what he now guessed was only a stage name, was wearing a goddamn beard. And not a fake one either. Not just a spectre of fuzz, like some of the women he'd met, but a full-blown Garibaldi. Her moustache drooped under her cupid dull nose, joining with a thick, gingery brush that flowed down to cover her cleavage, a fact for which he was suddenly grateful. Faced with a stiff upon his arrival, McCaw had half forgotten he had entered the freak show. Belinda Honeybush, her gaze taking on the gleam of beaten hubcaps, served to remind him of it. Nerves ruffled like the pigeons in the roof, McCaw replied more honestly than planned. Once, a long time ago, somewhere around the book of Genesis. Well, if it didn't fucking feel like that. The dame didn't get the funny, and McCaw rubbed his jaw to cover his blushes. I'm sorry, the other cops, they didn't tell me I'd be shining the lamp on the bearded lady. McCaw glanced at the wine bottle, the pink valise, the floor lamp in the corner, anywhere but her. You're in Waldo's Grand Carnival, detective. What did you expect to find? Thank you.